Kids should be in grown folk business. Let me explain. The problem with saying kids should not be in grown folks' business or having kids leave the room when grown people are talking is this. If our mission is to raise kids to be productive adults, when and where do they actually learn and develop that skill from? If you think about it, the problem isn't that these kids are in the room when adults are talking. It's either how that conversation is being carried on or what the conversation is about. So I have this rule in my house. I don't have a problem with my son being in the room when me and my wife are discussing our issues. Now, if we're discussing other people's issues, such or talk with during counseling, then he's not allowed because that has nothing to do with him. But if it's a physical, spiritual, mental, emotional, social, cultural, or financial issue that me and my wife are having and my son comes in the room, these are the guidelines of interaction. If the conversation is too heated to where he don't need to observe that, then we say, hey, leave the room, go play. Or if we identify that it's getting heated, we need to settle down. Or if he's in the room making a lot of noise while we're trying to have the conversation, he needs to leave the room. But we tell him this, listen, you can be here playing while me and your mother is talking out our differences or having a conversation. But if you get too loud, you're going to have to leave. If you join in or try to join in on the conversation, you're going to have to leave. We don't mind you being in here so that you observe how conversations are supposed to be had and resolutions are supposed to be come to by adults. But if you become a distraction, you have to leave. Noah then says, okay, I understand. He goes in the corner to start playing with his toys. Let me tell you what that does. If you are arguing in the house that your child is in, your child can hear that, right? So you can't say, well, child needs to stay in a child place. Well, they can hear that. They also can feel the vibe and the tension in the house if an argument did not come to a sensible resolution. So the child is actually always a part of the discussion and the argument, whether it be physical, mental, spiritual, or emotional. What I realize is this. If you want kids to grow up to be better, productive adults, you need to model that. I can't wait till Noah gets 18 and 20 and start having fallout with his friends or his girlfriends or wife and then be like, well, and why you don't do this and why you don't? It's like, well, where would he have gotten that from? Where would he have saw a healthy example of that if every time me and his mama had a disagreement, he left the room? Every time me and his mama had a disagreement, we was yelling and cussing and fussing. Every time we had a disagreement, we then took that anger out on him. When will he learn accountability, responsibility, communication, effective communication, emotional intelligence? All of these skills are skills that the parent need to teach the child. The problem is a lot of parents realize that you're not there yet and you don't want your children to be exposed to that. But whether you realize it or not, by default, they are already being exposed to that. So it's a great idea to let kids be in grown folks' business, but there are standards and guidelines to set to ensure that the business that they're in, they're actually learning something from it. And then this is a perfect time for you to teach your children what's going on in our home stays between us. We are a family. We need to work together to resolve our... You see, all of those skills are skills that a lot of us still don't have. And the reason we don't have them is because we were never exposed to them being utilized properly. But that's on our parents and guardians. Don't do to your kids what your parents and guardians did to you, which is what you still currently suffer from, while simultaneously promoting your children to do better. That don't make no sense. And it's a little hypocritical as well, because that's your job as a parent or a guardian to ensure that your children are getting what they need in your home so that when they leave, they're prepared for life. So yeah, it's a great idea. Let kids be in grown folk business, because remember, we're not raising kids to be kids. We're raising kids to be productive adults. And if that's truly the mission, that means you have to be more productive in how you conduct and carry yourself. But what do I know?
What's your thoughts?